good, y'all? Drop your shuffle questions. Hello. Buenos días, buenas tardes. No es buenos días. Hello, hello. Audio's good. I love it. All right. Hopefully my speaker survives this. Let me plug it in. How's it going, y'all? For everyone just popping in, it is Monday. That means it is Shuffle Q&A day. So I'm going to have a 30-minute sesh here right now. I'll tell you what I am working on. But if you have any specific questions about shuffling at all, if you have something that you are looking to learn, something you're working on that's not quite clicking, questions about freestyle, creativity, technique, mindset, anything like that, drop your questions in the chat. I'll get to as many questions as I possibly can today. Feel free to drop multiple. If you have anything you want to pick my brain about, drop it in there right now. I'm going to grab my speaker charger because I was dancing before this and I didn't realize that it's on red. So give me a hot minute. Tell me where you're tuning in from, how your day is going so far. Let's chat for a hot second. Also, I hope you don't get kicked out with the music. I'm going to turn that down just a little. How was NYC workshop? Oh, it was so good. It was so good. So many people gave me the feedback that it was like one of the first kind of creative freestyle workshops that they've ever done. So we had a choreo portion towards the end because I know that the NYC community, there's a lot of choreo doers there. So I wanted to make sure to have a piece of that for people, to feel comfortable. But it was really cool because I taught all about connectivity, and then we did a freestyle portion, a portion where like everyone got to kind of lab on their own based on specific prompts that I gave. And then we created the choreography together. So it wasn't like I came in with this predetermined choreography. It was literally like, we are gonna, hey Nikki was in the class. I'm just talking about how great the NYC workshop was the other night. It feels like, it's so weird to be back home in Costa Rica, but like I was literally just teaching in New York. So weird. But anyways, the choreo section was really cool because we all contributed to the choreography, and what we created was like something that the entire group put together at the same time, which was really, really nice. So it was great. I hope to be back in New York soon, but when it gets warmer, because I heard it got even colder after I left. So I'm glad it waited for me to go. Tuning in from Texas, counting down the days until Odessa and Tattoo. Yes, love it. If you're just popping in, let me know where you're tuning in from. Drop your shuffle questions. I'm going to, hello. I'm going to start sessioning. As questions come in, I will stop, take breaks, answer them, teach, etc. What was I going to say? Oh, my intention. I got like 4 brain cells. I just got home yesterday from my travel days, so bear with me. My intention for today is actually just to groove. And I think that's a really powerful intention. I know that I'm the type of person that always says like, make sure you're setting really clear intentions and make sure that you know what you're doing going into your session. But the most important fundamental thing, maybe this is a little lesson that I'll start off with, the most important thing to ask yourself before going into your session, even if you had something pre-planned, ask yourself, how do I feel right now? How do I feel and what do I need? I tell all my students to do this because sometimes you'll go into your session being like, I'm going to, work on this, and this. But maybe you had a really rough morning and you're just like, I need to just get some energy out. I need to just connect to my body, etc. So your intention may change based on how you feel. For me, I've been like, other than my workshop and the meetup and stuff like that, I haven't danced a ton and I was feeling a little bit disconnected from my body. So prior to this, I had a non-shuffle session, but a dance session nonetheless, which was absolutely amazing. Now I'm getting into the shuffle portion here and I really just want to groove, have fun, and not be judgmental of myself. So I don't care what comes out. I don't care how basic it is. I don't care if it's repetitive. That is going to be how I'm going to have the most successful session today for my body and for my mind. So yes. Glad to see you're thawing from NYC. Yeah, slowly but surely. These are actually my boots, which I will not need in Costa Rica. So I gotta pack those away. All right, let's get into it. Drop your shuffle questions, anything you want to know about shuffling. I'm going to take my mic off for right now. That way it's not slapping around. And I'm going to start sessioning while I'm waiting for questions to drop in. Don't be shy. Okay. Ooh, such a good question. Hello, everyone just joining. Drop your shuffle questions or mindset questions. Okay, so, oh my God. Although I walked like 20,000 steps a day in New York, I need to get that stamina up. Okay, first question is, how do you express yourself through dance? I'm imagining it's through dance. Clarify for me. While you're feeling numb or neutral? It's a really good question. So the way that I'm taking this, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh no, I'm reaching the audio limit. Okay, let's turn this down. What a shame. Let me hit resume here. To avoid, please don't share any more recorded music. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Instagram's getting mad. I have to turn my speaker off. Okay, so ask a heck load of questions because at this point it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to dance, which is unfortunate. But okay, so how to express yourself through dance while feeling numb or neutral. So this is a really good question because a lot of times people will, I think there's a duality to this question. So the first thing is like what we hear very commonly is like, if you're angry, go dance. If you're sad, go dance. If you're happy, you want to go dance, right? Like we use dance as a way to express emotions, and very similar to what I was just saying, like maybe you had a bad day and you need to kind of get out some of that energy or some of that sadness or anger, frustration, or whatever it is, right? That's the most typical way that I would say most people use dance. But dance can also be, to your exact point here, a very, very powerful way to bring feeling, literally and figuratively, back into your body. So without going too deep down the rabbit hole, typically if you're feeling numb, if you catch yourself zoning out a lot, if you feel really overwhelmed, if you would rather just like doom scroll than do anything else, oftentimes this is like a nervous system state of freeze. And again, without going down the rabbit hole here, we can bounce in and out of this state multiple times through the week, multiple times through the day, etc. So using dance in these instances can help you bring back feeling and emotion back into your body. Yeah, feeling this lately. Yep. So what dance does, so dance is movement, right? Movement is body-based. So your body is oftentimes when things feel too much in our daily life, when we feel stressed, whatever, our body will tend to like shut down the signals because it's like, I'm already using way too much energy being stressed, or it's usually stress that contributes to that, different types of stress. And so the body is just like, you know what, let's just shut this operation down for a little bit. And that's when we, tend to have that like numb feeling or that feeling of just being disconnected. So what you can do in this case, whether it's shuffle or non-shuffle, is literally just start moving. And I know that that's such a stupid thing to say. You're like, great, I could have Googled that. But in reality, like put on music. It doesn't even have to be like your favorite song. It doesn't have to be a sad song. It doesn't have to be a happy song. You could literally put on like lo-fi beats or something like that. You could put on classical. You could put on whatever it is. But having some sort of music so you're connecting to the sense of audio, so reconnecting back to our senses. And then we're also going to start reconnecting back to our sense of movement, which is going to be touch, right? So like whether or not I'm physically, whether or not I'm physically like touching my body, this is, we can feel this movement. I can feel my feet on the floor. I can feel my shirt starting to graze on my arms as I'm moving them. So a really great way to bring yourself back into feeling. And again, this is kind of where we're like on the mindset side of things. Literally just start by like swaying. So have some music on. It could be any type of music. If you're an EDM person, like you could do this to dubstep if you needed to. It doesn't matter. But just start swaying and start bringing some feeling back to your body. And the next thing that I would actually do, even before getting into shuffling, is just start moving. Start moving. Maybe it's shaking. Maybe it's jumping. If you're a headbanger, I'm totally not. My neck is too delicate for that. Maybe it's a little bit of head banging, right? Or it can just be gentle. It could simply just be like using your arms and your body to like explore your space. The goal with this isn't to be like, what dance style am I doing? You know, like what is the dancing that I'm doing? You don't have to worry about that right now. You're just trying to reconnect to your body. That's the first step. From there, naturally, this type of motion will help to gently, among other things, this is a very nuanced conversation. I also want to say that. So I'm just speaking very fundamentally here. There's a lot of different angles, but typically this will help to get you back into mobility. Literally, like freeze is the absence of mobility. Freeze is when you're kind of just like numbed out. You're, you know, a little too chill, if that makes sense. So this will help to mobilize you a little bit, to reconnect back to your senses, to reconnect back to your body. And from that point, bringing it all the way back to shuffling, because obviously that's why we're here, that's when you can start with a very soft and simple practice. At that point, don't set a goal for yourself to hit a new trick or to learn a new choreo. Don't set a goal for yourself to like try to clean something up or try to be really creative. Like that's not going to be the goal from that point. Similar to where I was at today when I first got into my session, my goal is literally just to move and to have fun and to kind of just reconnect back to shuffling, because I know the actual movement is going to be really good for my mind, be really good for my body. And I'm not trying to achieve anything. I'm simply just trying to move and trying to reconnect. From that point, you know, you might have like one session and feel really good and be able to resume your normal practice. May take multiple sessions for you to do that, right? Like maybe this is today's practice, and instead of just jumping right back into things tomorrow or whenever my next practice is, I might have to do this again. And that's completely okay. That's going to help you with that feeling of, as you said, like numbness or just neutrality. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with neutrality per se. But it's really, really going to help you if you're feeling like you're in a little bit of a free state to get out of that and use dance as a tool to ignite your body, to move a little bit of the energy and to remobilize your system. So we just got a little nerdy here, but that's a really good question. Yeah. Cool. Hello, everyone. So many friends are popping on. Okay, I'm really quickly, let me turn this so we can still see each other. I'm really quickly going to connect to my computer because I think that maybe, hold on. Drop your shuffle questions. Y'all still here? Yeah, okay. I just had to disconnect my Bluetooth. I'm going to try again with my speaker, playing a different set. Drop your shuffle questions, shuffle mindset questions. We just talked about how to get yourself into dancing if you're feeling a little bit frozen or if you're feeling kind of numb emotionally. This is really, really good if you are someone who's feeling stressed around the holidays or the end of year, whatever the case may be. Dance can be a great way to kind of help to alchemize that and be able to turn what you're feeling into something beautiful, whether it's to create art or whether it's simply just to move energy and to express. So that is what I'm doing today. And now I have to like pick a new playlist right here because Instagram threatened me. It was like, I will kick you off. Okay, let's try this one. But drop your shuffle questions. We still got about 15 minutes to go. I see your question there, Coco. I'm coming. And then let me just make sure this will play. There we go. And I'm going to keep it quiet. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear it a little bit. Okay. Do you have suggestions for activating the core in a shuffle warm-up? Sometimes I do planks. Hello, friends. Yes. Great question. So activating the core, super, super important in shuffling. A few things that I really like to do. I'm going to roll her up here so you can see what's happening. Okay. One of my favorite things to do, I actually saw this warm-up when I took a crump class, and I really loved the way that it made my core engage. So being careful with this, you're going to put your hands in this kind of T position here. What you're going to do is pull your belly button towards your spine, slightly roll the pelvis under as if you're trying to zip up a pair of tight jeans, right? You know how you'd kind of like tuck in, right? belly button to spine. And if you can, I know this is difficult for some people to have core engagement, but if you can, start rolling your rib cage in. So don't flare the ribs out like this. It's kind of hard to see. Like this. See how my ribs are like sticking out? We want to condense those as if you're blowing out like blowing air into a balloon. And that tucked in there. Okay? So that's the starting position. From this point, slightly grounding into the knees, being very careful with this. You'll feel your core in your back start to activate here too. And what you're going to do, you can even kind of put one foot in front of the other, but all you're going to do is exhale and you're going to rotate towards one side repeatedly. So as you're doing this, and I'll do it on the other side so I'm matched up, but as you're doing this, making sure you're not like flinging yourself, like it has to be very controlled. As you're rotating over, you want to feel not like your hips are turning with you, like your hips are staying square and your chest, your upper ribs and your shoulders are turning inwards. So everything's kind of knitting into one another and then coming back to center. And then same on the other side. Inhale, exhale. Usually I do that like 10 times on either side. I personally have really good mind-muscle connection with my core, so I can get it done in like 10 reps per side. But you might want to like do it at the beginning of your warm-up, finish your warm-up, and then do it again at the end. That's a really good one. Another one that I like as well, again, with that same core engagement that I was talking about at the beginning, because if you do any of these things without that initial activation and like correct placement, it's that one will probably be semi-effective, but anything else is not really going to be effective. But one that I really love, and I think a lot of people think this is like a stretch, but it doesn't feel like a stretch to me, but it's like coming out and bringing one arm up and over and actually like, yes, stretching through the side body, but actually getting that muscular stretch through the obliques. And then instead of just like lifting myself up, really engaging this oblique to pull myself back to center. And then same thing on the other side and doing this really nice and slow and controlled. Yeah, it feels so like my core is on fire right now. That one's kind of a silly one, but I really like it. Another thing you could do is like, because for me, a lot of the core things that have really helped to activate my core in shuffling are Pilates based. So you could even, like, one of my favorite Pilates teachers on YouTube is Move with Nicole, and she has like 10-minute ab whatever Pilates. So you could even throw on one of those and do 5 or 10 minutes of that to really start engaging the core and like using proper form, and then go into shuffling after that. That could be a good idea. Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, hello. Different question. Mirror versus recording yourself. Which is more preferred? Oh, I have opinions on this. Okay, I'm about to tell the truth. I actually taught about this in my New York class, and I made them face away from the mirror for about 50% of our workshop. Because I think there's a time and a place for both. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dancing in the mirror, but here are the things that I notice. Number one, when you dance in the mirror, so, okay, wait, I'm talking in circles here. My preference is record yourself and watch it back later rather than dancing in front of the mirror. This is why. Number one, when you dance in the mirror, a few problems happen. The first problem is that your gaze is stuck and your head is fixed at the front at all times. Okay? If you are shuffling, if you plan to rotate your body, let's say we're doing running mans to the side, I don't want your head facing the front the entire time. I don't want your head to be on this swivel. The only time we want that is when we're spotting in a spin. Otherwise, I want your head to, number one, be part of your movement, right? Like, people aren't using their head enough. But also, we want to unlock your gaze. We want to unlock your neck from being stuck at the front. And we want your gaze to follow your body, okay? The other thing as well, number two, kind of a sub point of number one, is people are so concerned with what they look like when they dance in the mirror that they're not even thinking about experimenting with turning away from the mirror and facing their back to the mirror or the camera, right? So 90% of like shufflers that I see, when I'm like, damn, it just looks so cool, like their flow just looks really cool, they're using all directions. They're not just facing forward and, doing whatever. They're using all their directions. They're rotating. I'm looking at their back for part of the time, right? A running man looks completely different facing you than it does away from you. And every other move as well, okay? The third problem, and this is the biggest one, is when you are shuffling while you are looking in the mirror, whether it's a choreo, a combo, a freestyle, drilling, you are not in your body. You have your analysis hat on. You have your self-judgment hat on. You have your I need to fix this right now hat on, okay? We wear two hats as a dancer when we're trying to improve. Hat number one is our creative hat. This is when we're listening actively to the music. Our mind is focused on what the music is telling us. In that same breath, we're focusing on our body and what we're feeling as a shuffler, okay? When you are shuffling, it's not just that you're going through movements. There are feelings happening, and not like emotional feelings, even though that does come up, but literal physical feelings. Like when you do a running man, you should feel yourself dropping and picking up, right? When you feel a T-step, you should feel that hip, knee, and toe pivoting. When you're doing cutting shapes, you should feel your core twisting. But when you're focusing in the mirror, you are not tapped into what you're feeling. And therefore, number one, it's not going to be as precise. And you're not going to make as good of decisions of what to do next in your freestyle, because you're not tapped into the feeling. You're just tapped into, okay, what am I doing? What does it look like? Is it cool enough? Like you're in your thinking brain, but you need to be in your feeling brain. Okay? So that's your creativity hat. Your analysis hat is the hat you wear when you want to, like, let's say you're learning the running man for the first time. Okay? You're learning the running man for the first time, and there's a few things that we want to look out for. Number one, if I watched my video back and I saw this, I would immediately know with my analysis hat on, oh, I want to actually open this up and create more space rather than keeping it tucked in or flung behind me. But you can't successfully analyze and make a change in your dancing while you're too busy staring at yourself in the mirror. Because there's too many things to think about. You have to listen to the music, stay on the tempo, make sure you hit all the technique pieces, analyze what's happening, make a change. No, we ain't doing it, okay? Maybe with certain things it's possible, but I'm going to be bold and say it's most of the time not going to work out. So my recommendation is record yourself, even if you don't plan on posting it on social media, record yourself with the only intention to start off. You can post it if you want, of course, with the only intention being, I'm going to put my analysis hat on later, watch this back, and decide what I need to change, what I want to improve, or what I really liked about my flow. Okay? 2 ways you can do this. First way, and each person's going to be different, and you're probably going to go back and forth and switch between these. I know I do, and I'll give you examples. The first way is you put your phone down, you give yourself, your prompt. So let's say I'm drilling the running man, or let's say I have a certain prompt in my freestyle, whatever it is. Okay? Do your run. Most dancers dance for 30 seconds to a minute. Shuffling is a sprint, right? We go in short bursts, we rest. I like to do approximately 1 minute intervals. So like I'll shuffle for a minute, then I'll stop, take a rest, breathe, whatever, and then I'll go back into it for another minute. So option one is record your minute of whatever it is. Let's say it's the running man. Let's say I'm drilling the running man. When I'm in my rest minute, you're then going to take your phone and you're going to switch your hats. Boop, creativity hat is off. My focusing on my body is off. Now I'm going to put my analysis hat on and my mind is going to be in the forefront. And I'm going to watch this video. Okay. I see that my leg is really tucked in here and it looks really bouncy. Okay. Now when I go back into my next round of Running Man, I'm going to focus on bringing my leg out and staying more grounded in my drop. Okay. And that becomes my new prompt. So you're literally learning how to coach yourself and how to clean up your technique or whatever it is before going into the next round. Okay. And you would just do that. So a minute on, recording, a minute off, check out what you did, analyze from there. That's option one. Option two is, and I'll tell you kind of which situations you'll want to choose each option. Option two is record your minute. When you're done shuffling, stop your minute, take your break, don't watch it back, get some water, do what you got to do. And you continue with that, recording each of your rounds or recording a few of them, and you watch it back after your session, either when you're stretching, when you're at home later that night or whatever. For me, I'm picturing shuffling in the studio. I watch it when I'm home, but like later that night, even the next day. Okay. There is so much power in watching your session later on after you've had some distance from it. Because oftentimes we'll be in a session, we'll think that it's shit. We'll be like, this is going so bad. I suck. And then we'll watch it a day later, 2 days later. Sometimes I've watched mine like weeks later and been like, there was nothing wrong with that. Like we get really hard on ourselves. So that's why if you're someone who gets really self-critical, if you try to nitpick every little thing about your shuffling, I would opt for number two, where you record certain pieces of your practice with the intention of wearing your analysis hat at a later time. And then you go back and you say, okay, I'm noticing my running man, let's say it's the same thing. I'm noticing my running man was a little tucked in today. That's going to be my focus in my next practice to untuck it. So you're achieving the same thing. You're just kind of going at it in a slightly different manner. So that's my rant. That is my rant. I'm going to stop there for that rant because I could literally do it forever. Quick funny story, and then I'll answer B. Hoffa's question as the last one because it's a really good one. In my class in New York this past weekend, I was like, okay, and we're going to do half the class not facing the mirror, facing away from the mirror. And literally everyone went white as a ghost. Their faces were literally like, I wish I had a snapshot of what everyone looked like. Because if you're so used to using the mirror, it can be really scary. But as soon as we turned around and as soon as people were just like in the lab, like they weren't busy analyzing, they were just labbing, they were feeling things in their body, they were listening to the music more, they were thinking about different things rather than analyzing. Literally, they grew so much as dancers just in that hour and a half long class. And that's going to be something that's really going to impact them positively moving forward. So I offer this to you, even if when I said, don't use the mirror, you were like, I promise it's worth it. Okay. I've never practiced with the mirror ever because I just didn't have one. But it actually ended up being better. And now I notice the same thing over and over and over of people who do practice in the mirror, and we need to like break those habits so we can feel confident just thinking on the spot rather than analyzing. Yeah, Coco says it was so helpful to turn away from the mirror. Yep. Okay, last question. I love this, Behoff. It's so concise. What are 3 training tips you do when training for a battle? Did you mean to say 3? Because that just feels so like, I love that. I love that I have a number. Okay. 3 training tips for when you are training for a battle. Let me see. I got to narrow it down. Okay. Tip number 1. Yes, I love that. You know me. Okay. Tip number 1 is going to be train your mindset as much as you train your dancing. What I mean by that is you need to become a watcher of your brain. You need to watch your brain while you're practicing, before you practice, after you practice, when you're thinking about practicing, when you're watching your videos back. You need to watch your brain because a battle, especially if you're like, some people sign up for a battle and they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. Whatever happens, happens. And like, I'm just doing it for funsies. And they show up, they have a great time, and they leave, right? But I'm an all or nothing kind of person. And I don't go into a battle with the intention of winning. That has never been my intention. That would always be just a happy bonus. But I go into it using preparation for a battle as like, how can I become the best version of myself as a human and as a dancer? And I let the battle test me. Sometimes a little too much, but that's for another live. Okay. You have to watch your mindset, because if you are, let's say, like taking it really seriously and you're like really wanting to train for it and just seeing who you become in the process, it's very easy for your mind to play tricks on you, and it's very easy to be self-critical. Bottom line, right? So if you are someone, like, when you watch your videos back, pay attention to what you're thinking about yourself. Are you like, oh, this sucks. Oh, I'm never going to make it through prelim. Oh, I'm never going to, like, you need to catch those thoughts and reverse that shit. When you're in your session, this one is so important. What are you thinking when you're in your session? Are you thinking that this is difficult, this is hard, you're not going to be ready, your stamina sucks, you're not creative enough, you're too repetitive? Like, these are all the things that I catch myself saying to myself, and we need to cut that off quick. Okay, so not option one. Tip number one is train your mind just as much as you are training your shuffling. You're training your technique or whatever, okay? Tip number two is dance to music that you don't normally listen to. You are going to get, I cannot count how many times I've battled and heard the song and been like, what? I would never be caught dead dancing to this. Because there are just genres we don't listen to. There are just artists we don't listen to. And I think that kind of like, that's going to help you grow as a dancer as a whole, dancing to genres that you don't typically listen to. But just know that you might not like your song. You might not vibe with your song, but you have to make it work. You have to get creative. So that's number two. Tip number three is, let me see here. Tip number three, training for a battle, is, there are so many. That's why I'm like trying to see what's going to be the most impactful here. I think tip number three is like, oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. This kind of goes with like the self-criticism aspect, because it does come up a lot. And I'm giving this tip based on when you're actually in your training, if your inner critic is really loud, and or when you're actually there on battle day. Ask yourself, how would I move? Two questions. I'm going to give you two questions to ask yourself. Number one, how would I move if I had nothing to prove and no one to impress? That's one of my favorite things to come back to. If you weren't worried about being the trickiest, the coolest, hitting all your foundations, hitting all the battle criteria, impressing the judges, getting the crowd to wow and woo and scream and whatever, how would you move if you had nothing to prove and no one to impress? That's your prompt. That's how you dance. The other prompt, and you can kind of pick and choose which one feels most impactful, and I always give this one to my students because it's like, it's a bit of a tearjerker. And it's like, how would I dance if I knew this was the last time I would dance? Move like that. That is how you are going to train. That is how you are going to bring out the best in yourself. That is how you're going to avoid the self-criticism and literally just dance for the sake of dancing and trust your training. So in the times when you're in the gym or in the studio or in your backyard, I know that's where you practice, Brian, like if your inner critic is going wild, go back to one of those prompts and let that guide the rest of your session, because it will truly change everything. So yeah, I love that. Nikki says, I got so scared I couldn't do the toe taps at first, but it was a great tool. Yeah, that was with the mirror, right? With not using the mirror. Did you have dance experience prior to shuffling, and does that inform your shuffle style at all? Ooh, yeah, really good question. Okay, this will be the last question, and then I'm going to run. I did have dance experience prior, and I do think that that impacts my shuffling. I think that like having prior dance training, it helps you train your ear. It helps you understand counts a little bit. Like I didn't come into shuffling being like, okay, I've never, moved a day in my life. And so I think that is really helpful. However, I don't think it's required for shuffling. I have seen people who have no dance background. I have seen people who like, if they were in the club, like they wouldn't have any rhythm, but as a shuffler, they get that rhythm somehow. So like, I think everything is teachable. Everything is learnable. Everything is understandable if it's broken down properly and correctly, whether you have a dance background or not. But yeah, I did have a prior dance background, and shuffling, I always say shuffling is a gateway drug, because shuffling like has led me to go back to other dance styles, or just like other ways of moving in general, like not even necessarily like, oh, I'm going to practice hip hop today and I'm going to do lyrical today, and like literally just, I'm going to flail my body around and see what happens. Or, oh, I'm listening to like old school Drake and I really just want to like get kind of like down and dirty with it. And those are the types of movements that really, really help me in shuffling as well. And it has also led me to start working on crump a little bit too. My alarm is about to go off at 4:09, so I'm going to get interrupted for a second. Other than that, I'm like waiting for it to go off. Other than that, hold on. Oh my gosh, so many technical difficulties today. All good in the hood. You're so welcome. Okay, that is it for today. Maybe I'll make it before my alarm, but if not, don't jump off. Don't jump off just yet. Let me close it off. As far as today goes, these were such great questions. I'm sorry my music didn't cooperate, but that's okay. We had really great questions. I loved ranting on this stuff. Oh, I thought it was going to like interrupt me. Okay. I have an alarm that goes off at 4:09 every day for no reason. It's just a thing about me. Other than that, if you are looking to improve your shuffling through the end of 2025 into 2026, if you have shuffle goals, Shuffle S.H.R.E.D is where it's at. Hit me up if you have no dance experience, if you are a new shuffler, if you are an advanced shuffler, if you are someone coming from a different dance style. Let's get you into shuffling. Let's help you with the mindset aspect of it, the technique aspect, creativity, freestyle. Shuffle S.H.R.E.D is the place to be. That's all I'm going to say. Let me know if you guys want any more information on how to work with me, whether it's through one-on-one lessons. I have a fundamentals beginner course called the Footwork Blueprint. I also have other courses that are geared towards other levels. But other than that, I will see you guys next week. I hope you have an weekly, so I remember all the questions so I can do a recap and make sure that I didn't miss anything. Y'all are taking notes. I love it. Okay, cool. 4:09, Kevin knows. Every day at the retreat, 4:09 went off. This is my retreat shirt, actually. Let me show you guys really quick. This was from the retreat that just happened in November. Can you see it? Yeah. 2026 retreat. Coming up. Okay, that's it. I'm done yapping. Love you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. Bring your questions. Write down what you are working on this week and bring it to the next live. Bye.